So I was thinking the other day, what does it exactly mean to be predictive? And if we think about it semantically, this speaks of your ability to create or deliver products. In other words, to produce. So being predictive is being able to produce products. And then I thought, well, how do we exactly measure one's level of productivity? And I think that the two major categories here are how fast and how good you're able to deliver something. The more productive you are, the faster or the better you're able to create something. And now, although these two things may seem like the opposite ends of a line, of a spectrum, I think that they're inherently connected. Whenever one gets to do something faster, he also gets to do it better. So the way that one learns, grows, and develops is not that linear, but more radial in fashion. So I thought, okay, that's cool. Now, can we somehow translate that into the context of learning? Here are 3 things that I came up with, which may allow you to actually learn faster, better, in other words, to be a more productive learner. The first thing is all about doing more, which is especially important in the beginning stages of learning to do something. Let me give you an example of that. When I was beginning first to play the guitar, I knew a guy who was way ahead of me at this point. And so I remember myself just looking at his fingers and how fast they were moving and asking him, how do you even start playing so fast? And he was very nonchalant about it and just said, oh, you just keep on practicing. And so at that time I thought, okay, I guess you're not going to tell me, so whatever. And then years later, I remember being in the same situation with a student of mine. So when the boy asked me the same question, I told him, you probably won't believe me, but if you just keep on practicing and being consistent with your practice, eventually you'll be able to do the same thing. Your fingers will be able to do that. This is to say that if you're just starting out, like playing an instrument, learning how to draw, using a software of some sorts, or learning a language, or maybe you're not just starting out, but doing it for some time without seeing the results that you'd like, the first thing to consider is whether or not you're doing enough to see progress. In other words, think about just doing more and being more consistent with your endeavors. Here's some examples of what I mean by doing more and being more consistent. For more would be to have each and every learning or practice session being at least 15 minutes and striving to get it up to 90 minutes. And for consistency, best case scenario would be to dedicate time each and every day, if not every other day, and if not that, at least 3 to 4 times a week. Take the hourly parameter, take the weekly parameter, and get creative so you can do more and be more consistent with your endeavors. Okay, so once you know you've been practicing enough and you're being consistent, one of the better things that you can do next is to start looking around for patterns. Patterns may represent sequences of actions that you know that always go together, or just like a mathematical formula. You don't need to derive it each and every time to use it, but you have to know it and to recognize its existence so you can use it directly and implement it into the problem that you want to solve. So this will allow you to do things faster, and by doing things faster, you will now have space and time to think on how you can do things better and then conceptualize that as well. Here's an example of that. When I was first starting learning to do After Effects, I would go on YouTube and follow along tutorials from Sunduck Films, which is an amazing After Effects channel. So each and every video consists usually of 3 or 4 designs, and so I've decided that each and every day I would just create one design. And so each and every week I would cover 2 to 3 videos, which is like 7 to 10 designs or something like that. Now some days I would do 2 instead of 1 because I have more time or I'm just excited about it. This was my schedule for getting in the hours, getting in the practice without interfering with all the other things that I would be doing. And now at some point I started noticing that we would usually use similar tools, but we would use them differently. So I put conscious attention as to what these tools are, so I memorized where they are so I can find them faster. And then at some point I started playing a prediction type of game with the tutorial. So before doing something I would pause and try to do it on my own, and then when I played the tutorial I would see if this is the way that we would approach the thing. So by observing, by reflecting, by conceptualizing, abstracting different patterns of actions, I was able to learn to do things even faster. And then because of that, in the end I would have even more time to spend thinking, tweaking how I can do things better. And then at some point when I wanted to do all of these things in a different program, in DaVinci Resolve, I wouldn't start everything from a blank slate, but I would ask myself, where can I find all of these things that I know and just do them in this one new program now? And so you can say that the second time around I learned the things a lot faster because already in my head I had the concepts for, I know what to do, I know what I'm going to use it for, I know what I'm looking for, I just need to know how. Okay, the third thing is experimenting, and I think that the best place to start here is our understanding of what experimenting is, or at least the meaning with which I load the word. So experimenting is doing something without being certain of the outcome, i.e., there's risk involved. Now that begs the question, well, what is the difference between experimenting and risk? And the way that I conceptualize it is that whenever you're experimenting, you have control over the risk. So you don't fight nor flight as a response, you create space for a third response, which is curiosity. And curiosity is in general associated with a lot more positive experiences, and it is in essence more playful. And having the sensation of being curious and playful while learning can be very valuable. It's not that learning cannot occur without these things, but it will occur in a much healthier way. So here's a very cool example of all of this. I've been learning Italian for quite some time. I've been living in Italy for quite some time, although I haven't put up a video of me speaking Italian. I'll probably do it eventually. One thing that I like to do when I'm speaking and I don't know a word is to try and guess it. Now, my guess is based on my knowledge of English, my knowledge of Bulgarian, which have a lot of similarities with Italian. Then I also practice it daily, and I also have a lot of observations at this point as to how to formulate certain words. And so I would just come up with a word and just use that and see what happens. And I myself am surprised how many times the word that I came up with turns out to be the exact word. And a lot of people would also say, like, how do you know such high-level words and whatnot? Where in reality, I'm just experimenting. Now, here's something important. In order for this to be an actual experiment, I have to verify the results. So each and every time I do something like this, I would ask the person, well, is there an actual word like that or not? And if it is, then it's cool. And if I don't, well, they'll just tell me what the actual word is. And so it's an experience where we have fun, it's playful, it's exciting, and I'm also learning. And going back to the first point, I know that it's safe to do, so I wouldn't do that during a passport check or when I'm having an exam of sorts. But every other time, I know that I'm safe to do that experiment and I have a good time. One additional thing that I want to share is that although I presented things in a very linear fashion and we like steps, we like order, to have a formula to follow, every process, every experience is in reality rarely, if ever, a clean cut. So whenever you hit a plateau, think of the tools that I presented not as steps to achieve a goal, where you're not allowed to go back in your tracks, but maybe better as a palette of keys. And each and every obstacle that you face is but a door, and you just have to see which key fits. And remember that now you have at least 3 more. And that is all I have for you for this one. Thank you for watching, keep it bright, and I'll see you in the next one.